All right, well, welcome back to Career Review. Today we have an interesting topic. We're going to talk about counter offers, but before we get into that, just some brief introductions. I'm Katie Avis, and then this is Darren Boots. We're
Hello.
both senior recruiters with RN Consulting. So, kind of can be a controversial topic, but counter offers is something that we kind of deal with on a day-to-day basis in our line of work. And we're talking about the circumstance in which someone is at their current employer, for whatever reason they're deciding to look for a new role. They get an offer from their new employer, and then for some reason they go back to give their 2-week notice, and their boss says, you know what, we want to keep you.
Right.
So that's what we're talking about. We're not talking about like salary negotiation type of counter offers type of things. So we're going to talk about the reality of getting a counter. We're going to talk about questions you need to ask yourself. We're going to talk about why they're not a good idea, and then how to decline one. So first off, don't think a counter won't happen to you. I always thought this personally, but it has happened to me, and it's pretty awkward. So you just need to be ready. That's the biggest thing. Expect the unexpected kind of thing.
Especially in the work market now where there's a lot more jobs than there is qualified people.
Oh yeah, for sure. And if you're good enough to get a new job, odds are you're valued at your current employer.
Yep.
And then Darren, you're gonna take the next one.
Yep, absolutely. So, you know, before you do this, you always have to ask yourself the hard questions. You know, it's not all about money. You have to ask yourself, why do you want to leave? You know, do you realistically deserve it? If they come at you with a counter offer, have you asked for money before? What did they say? Did they say yes? Did they say no? What were the reasons behind it? Do you feel you deserve one, and can you back that up? Can you tell them, yes, this is what I deserve? The bottom line is you have to walk into the situation prepared for it, okay? And you always have to expect in today's world that there is going to be a counteroffer.
Yes.
And if there is one, what is the number and what needs to happen? And you have to remember that, like I said before, it's more than just money. You have to really identify, why are you looking to leave this job? Because people usually just don't hop jobs to hop jobs. They hop jobs because something's not right. Something's not, they're not happy about. So why are you looking to leave? Is it leadership? Is it growth opportunities? Is it instability? You know, and the bottom line is, if you receive a counteroffer, you have to ask yourself, would you accept it? And if they were to give you options for a counteroffer, why didn't they do that before?
Yeah.
You know, why are you all of a sudden valued now, but you weren't valued then? So all of these are things that you really have to consider. They may throw some money at you, but money isn't everything, right?
Right, it totally isn't, and that kind of brings us to the next subject of why a counteroffer can be kind of a bad idea.
Right.
There's a few different reasons. Obviously, you touched on one of those. It's like, you know, if you do accept this promotion or pay increase, is that going to change your current role? Like, if you're unhappy about your boss, is that going to change it just because you're making more money? No. Is the fact that maybe it's not a stable environment going to change? Probably not. Is it going to change that there's growth opportunity? Maybe not. Maybe just financially one hit. And the other thing is, you might be putting a target on your back realistically. So, you know, now they know you kind of went behind their back and interviewed with other places. You've mentioned it, you put it out there. Now that idea is in their head. And so they know that you were once trying to leave. And the other thing is, I think sometimes when we get a counter, or you're in a situation, your current employer comes to you and says, oh, no, please don't go, we really want you. It kind of inflates our ego a little bit.
Everyone likes to get a little bit of an ego stroke.
And so sometimes our judgment is clouded by that. And we think, oh, you know, they really want to keep me and this sort of thing. And you need to really think back and stay grounded and remember your initial reasons, like we said, of why you're wanting to leave, and realize, you know, okay, thank you, but no. And so, which kind of brings us into the last thing, which Darren's going to talk about, which is...
Well, it's multiple things that I want to touch on. One, like we said before, if you're going to go in and expect a counteroffer, you have to know, would you stay or would you not, and what your number is, okay?
Right.
And what would need to happen. Also, if you've already decided that no matter what, you're going to move on, you have to know what you're going to say. especially in this market here in Des Moines, it's a small market.
Yeah.
There's a chance that you're probably going to work with people that you've worked with in the past again. And so you don't want to burn a bridge. If you're going to decline, you want to politely decline, and you want to do it in a way that leaves the door open to you. Even if it's a situation where you probably know in your heart that you wouldn't go back there again, you still want to leave very professionally.
Yes.
Don't say anything bad about anyone, especially your current manager, and just leave with the door open.
Yeah, thank them for their time
Right.
and the opportunity, but just say no.
Right, because you just never know when you're going to cross somebody's path again.
Right. And don't feel guilted about it. I mean, at the end of the day, this is your life decision,
Yeah.
right? It's for you, it's for your family, and it's for your career progression, and eventually they will get over it. So,
One thing I do want to throw in, if you're working with a recruiter, it is very, very important that you have that counter offer conversation.
oh yeah.
It's not about turning it into a bidding war or anything like that, because that very rarely ends well. What you want to do is just be prepared and know what you're going to say if that comes in. You don't want anybody getting blindsided.
Right. At the end of the day, it just comes down to be ready to have these conversations, be honest with yourself, and be honest with the people that you're interviewing with, whether it's a recruiter or the company, whatever, but be transparent about those conversations. Absolutely. So that's really all we have today. If you have questions about counter offers, or if you're put in this position, you want to kind of walk through it with somebody, feel free to reach out to Darren or I, or if you want to apply to any of our jobs, feel free to hop on our website. Just go to RN Consulting and pull up all the opportunities we have there, and we'd be happy to help you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks.